Hello, racing fans, and welcome back to another edition, or a special edition of Handicappers Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Heads, along with Drew Forster. We're going to go through the Breeders' Cup races. We're going to go through the 4 Breeders' Cup races on Friday, November the 4th. That's tomorrow as of taping, but we do have start in race number 6, which goes about 2:20.
2:25, of course, coming from Santa Anita again this year. Keeneland last year. It's been at Santa Anita a fair bit over these past few years. Which I've always said is a good idea just for the weather alone. The few Breeders' Cups I've been to in Chicago, Kentucky, New Jersey, pretty chilly. Nice to have it. It's going to be gorgeous down there. Of course, our own Glenn Todd is down there to enjoy the festivities. And as Mike mentioned, first race is 4 on Friday. Highlighted, of course, by what could be the race of the weekend.
That's going to be a great race.
The Distaff
with
Songbird. Beholder, Stellar Win, and Songbird going for a perfect 12 for 12. Does kick off at 2:25. The first race is the 6th. That's the 6th on the Santa Anita card. And this is the juvenile turf, going a flat mile on the turf. Similar story here for me. As you'll note, as we go through the Breeders' Cup, I have gone to Aidan O'Brien. In my opinion,
love that guy.
He's the top trainer in the world. Well, he trains for Magner and Taylor. And these big owners, these beautifully bred horses. This guy, my first top pick in the 6th race, Intelligent Cross, the 8 horse. He's the son of Warfront out of an unbridled song mare. He's 5 for 6 in the money lifetime, which when these horses come out from Europe, it's much tougher to do. You don't see horses get on win streaks where they're coming in here unbeaten, 4 for 4. That doesn't really happen with the European horses, And these European horses,
they seem to set their horses up more. They don't.
Yeah, they don't ask them for
everything
everything
to win, but
every
race has a purpose, and it's not necessary to win that day. To teach them something. If they win, great. But and that's why you don't see, like Frankel did it. But I mean, you don't see very many Frankels. It's really rare.
You don't see these horses, especially with these young horses. You'll see horses that are 3 for 3, 4 for 4. You don't see that coming out of Europe. And in these turf races, the Euros are always dominant. That's why I've gone to the 8 Lancaster Intelligent Cross. Ryan Moore, which would steer me this way, is on this one for Aidan O'Brien. It's his go-to guy. I have Intelligent Cross on top. Of the 11, Good Samaritan of the American horses, this guy looks impressive. The son of Harlan's Holiday on the Bill Mott barn. Bill Mott, no stranger to the Breeders' Cup. He was absolutely under a hand ride last time in a Grade 2 at Woodbine. Just couldn't have done it easier. I like him back today. My third pick, a bit of a long shot, is Rodani. Another European horse, Frankie Dettori rides. How many Breeders' Cup races have we seen him win over the years? He's going to hit the board sometime during this weekend. I don't mind him on Rodani. Perfect 4 for 4, just to go against what we were talking about. Perfect 4 for 4. His last race, he did clip heels mid-stretch. Throw that race out. He has to be respected. He's a son of exchange rate. I went 8, 11, and 12.
I mean, anytime you have these 14-horse 2-year-old races, I mean, it's a bit of a guessing game.
Yeah.
I don't blame you for taking the Euro approach. You know, they've won quite a few of these races since they've invited the 2-year-olds or expanded the Breeders' Cup to 2-year-old turf races as well. But I went to the 6 Big Score, kind of a local Santa Anita horse. Really unlucky not to be undefeated. This horse had a very tough trip in the Zuma Beach. I know it wasn't a graded race. He's never been in a graded company. But this horse won with authority. I know the time is distorted. Anytime you see 21 and 4, 44 and 4, you know, that's a track-aided time. I mean, it's far faster. They're not really going in 21 and 4. I guess they are, but the track was pretty lively, and you know, so thus a very fast final time. I just like his running style. He's really he's an obscurely bred horse. Unusual heats are nice. He's a nice broodmare sire. Dynaformer is an excellent sire, but the two. Mr. Big is an unknown stallion, but still he's produced a pretty nice horse here in Big Score. I just see a lot of speed in the race. I see the 2 going out for position. Definitely the 9 horse well labeled and the 13 Oscar Performance. There's going to be some pace in here, and I just see Big Score, you know, being a winner at Santa Anita and doing it impressively. I know the company he was beating wasn't as good as some of these other horses have run against, but it's just the way he did it. He did it with authority and was wide throughout, didn't get the best of trips, and still managed to, you know, to prove that he's a better horse than just an allowance or just a overnight stake type of horse. But the 5 horse, Made You Look for Todd Pletcher. Castellano had his choice of a couple in here, and he ends up on Made You Look. Nice win in the with anticipation at Saratoga. Looks like he's a horse that can sit just in behind those speed, which would be a good spot in this 1 mile race because it isn't the longest of runs to the first turn. You need position. The outside horses are really compromised in these 1 mile races at Santa Anita just because of the dynamics of the track, the circumference of the track. It's just it's a 7/8 turf course. And so they start pretty much, you know, they don't have a long run into the first turn, so position is a key. So I put him in for second. I put the 1 Lancaster Bomber, the other Aidan O'Brien horse. Did lose to stablemate Churchill last time. Was probably the best 2-year-old in England. But Lancaster Bomber fought on bravely. If you get a chance, you can watch the races on YouTube. And this particular race I watched, he was the rabbit for Churchill. He forgot to stop, and he's actually coming on very well at the end. He goes on Lasix, nicely drawn. He's going to be speed. He left the gate really well in Europe, but I mean, this is different kind of speed here in California. But I went 6-5-1. I'm going to go a big score for Flavien Prat and Tim Yakteen to win the Juvenile Turf Fillies. On to race number 7, this is the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. Another race for position. This race starts right at the finish line, and it's tough. You got to get into a spot or you're in trouble. And I'm going to go to the rail to Vijack. Last couple of runs really signaled to me he's coming around. I know he ran second to Masochistic, who will be one of the favorites, or will be the favorite in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Then he came back and beat Alm, obviously in the Grade 2 on the turf. He did start his career off 4-for-4 on the dirt, and I know it looks like on form, you know, dirt might not be his best surface, but I just see him getting a trip in behind Dortmund. Accelerate has speed. Run Happy is going to go wreck the pace, and and Tamarcas has got some speed. I just see Vijack getting a good trip. He's going the right way. And Flavien Prat again has just been riding sensationally. He's going to need his A game to beat Dortmund. Dortmund, I'm going to try and beat him only because he's shortening up to a mile. If it's a 1.1 1/8, I'd love him in here. But you know, they had their choice of running him in the Classic or the mile, and he's going to go in the dirt mile. And he's not the fastest horse around, and he's really going to have to get used going into the turn, to get the lead, because he's not sprint type speed. He does go 46, 109. He can, but it's still, he's not the 45 or 44 and change type horse that's a couple of these other ones like Run Happy and Accelerate are. So he's going to really need to work, and maybe he might be vulnerable. They've obviously not been happy with him. He's only had 3 races this year. They tried him in blinkers last time, which is a signal that, hey, we're not happy with him. And they made a change. I know he's running against California Chrome, who's like the greatest horse on the planet right now. And but still, I just look more at who he's beating than who he's been beaten by. And I see win the space, win the space. He lost to Beholder. What's in behind him? There's not much behind him. And maybe he's just running seconds and thirds by default. Yeah. He's going to be 4-5. And I just want to beat him, that's all. So I put him in for second. I put the 9 Gun Runner, who I think is a better miler. He's been running 1.25 miles, 1.1 miles. I think a mile's going to hit him on the head. The 9 hole is the only problem for Gun Runner. It's the only reason I didn't pick him a little higher. Point Piper I gave honorable mention to. I'll be cheering for him for Mario as well. He didn't run a yard at Belmont. He's back at Santa Anita. He's a better horse in California. I went 139 though. I'm going to try Vijack.
Our Longacres mile winner, Point Piper. I did go to Dortmund. I mean, as you mentioned,
he's the logical horse.
He's the horse to beat. 3 starts back. He only gets beat a half a length after setting the pace by California Chrome, who you mentioned, inarguably probably the best horse on the planet. So I'm going with Dortmund. He's 2 for 2, going him flat mile. I like Dortmund. I think Baffert's going to have a very good weekend. Dortmund on top. I went with Tamarcas.
John Gunther bred.
Yeah. John Gunther bred, regular here at the Derby Bar and Grill. I threw him in for second. This is a horse that won 4 times straight in Dubai, going a flat mile last year. He's come over here this year. 2 good runner-up efforts, 102 and 104 Beyer. 1 behind AP Indian, who's going to be favored on the card tomorrow. The other one behind Anchor Down. Mike Smith, another guy I think is set up for a good weekend. I like Tamarcas in the 2nd spot, and I put Gun Runner. I mean, he has to be respected in here. He's just a solid street fighter that shows up every time. 1 for 1 at today's distance. Another one that could probably be better going longer, but the only time he ran a mile was when he broke his maiden at Churchill Downs.
I just think he keeps getting nailed going 1.25 miles, 1.1 miles. I just think he makes wide runs, and then he's just getting caught, because he made the lead in the Pennsylvania race at Parks and got caught by Connect.
Got caught late, so
but I just think
a mile might
just be
could be hit him right in the head under the very hot Florent Giroux. I went 389 in the dirt mile. On the 8th, the girls' turn, Juvenile Fillies on the turf. Field of 14 in here.
Another tough handicapping affair.
This is another tough one. I went to Roly-Poly, another Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore horse. Like I said, I love these horses on the turf. She's 5 for 7 in the money lifetime. She's a war front out of a Galileo mare. Incredible breeding there. Doesn't get any better for Tabor Smith and Magnier. Top Connections just got beat in nose in a Group 1 at Newmarket back on the 24th of September. Roly-Poly's my pick in here. I got Intricately, the Irish horse, trained by Aidan O'Brien's son, Joseph. If he can win, this will be the youngest trainer to ever win a Breeders' Cup age at the puppy age of 23 years old. And this filly, this is the one the European bookmakers have as favorite to win this race. She's been steadily improving throughout her 2-year-old career, winning a Grade 1 at the Curragh in her last race, getting up in time to beat Hydrangea, the 1 horse, another Aidan O'Brien horse. Intricately looks very tough in here. I got her in the 2nd spot. And in the 3rd spot, I went to the 4, Spainberg. Frankie Dettori rides this filly. As we talked about before, you don't see horses get on a roll coming from Europe like we do over here. Yeah, look at her record. 4 for 5 lifetime with a 2nd to boot. She looks very good coming in here. I like her a lot.
Of note too, just they did buy this horse this horse after it's went at Newmarket. They went to auction, and then the new owners went to the Kathy Ritvo barn. They paid $1.6 million for
$1.6 million.
Spainberg at a sale in Europe after that race, and
could be a deal. Could be a deal after this race. But very live in here. Gets world-class jockey Frankie Dettori, another guy I'm looking that he's going to pop up at certain points throughout the weekend. Don't mind Spainberg at all. I got 13, 7, and 4. Thank you for the info on Spainberg.
Yes, I just happened to know. I happened to come across that in reading. That's a great thing about the DRF and about other. There's great coverage on on each individual horse. You don't see that every day.
Yeah.
Just in the Breeders' Cup, and I just happened to get that nugget out of some article on the DRF. But yeah, your man Aidan O'Brien has his fingerprints all over this race with his family, sons, and in this race, and they're going to be very tough as usual. The Euros and these 2-year-old turf races. But Chad Brown is the guy that does everything well on the turf in North America, and I'm going to go to the 3-horse New Money Honey. Did lose to Le Coronel first time out, but that was Le Coronel's 3rd career start. This horse did encounter some trouble leaving the gate that day, which you would expect with a first-time starter. Came back on a yielding track. Obviously, Chad thought enough of him to put him in a Grade 3, and she galloped home quite easily. Final time, not spectacular, but still was a yielding course. I just like the way this horse is going the right way. I went and watched the replay. She's a big filly with a lot of scope. She looks like a turf filly, got a great action. She's a Medaglia d'Oro out of a distorted humor mare. The pedigree doesn't get any better than that.
Trying to remember last time Medaglia d'Oro had a good filly.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
The boys are okay, but
might
the
be some in the
fillies
next race.
Superstars.
Songbird. But New Money Honey is a pretty, I think the filly going the right way. I think she's the best of the North American horses. I put Le Coronel. I'm leaving out the Euros in the top 2. I put the 9-horse Cavale Doré or Cavale Doré for Christophe Furland and Flavien Prat rides. Had her 2-race winning streak snapped. Was a well bet in a Group 1 at Chantilly, which is one of the better tracks. Did encounter some trouble in that race. Perhaps the firm ground was really firm. As you can tell, they went in 135 and 4, although it's going to be pretty firm ground at Santa Anita as well. But definitely a race. Look at them in the paddock. There's a lot of juicy-looking fillies with great pedigrees in here. But I really like the 3 New Money Honey. I think this filly's going the right way. Chad Brown's just been spectacular. He's just rising up the ladder with his horses. He's got a great stable. He manages them well. This horse is coming up to the Breeders' Cup, peaking at the right time. She's not over-raced, and I like that. I went 3, 14, and 9 in the fillies juvenile turf. On to the finale that we'll be analyzing, the final stake race on the Friday afternoon program at Santa Anita for Breeders' Cup Day 1. This is the Breeders' Cup Distaff, a 1.125 featuring, as we talked about, Medaglia d'Oro. Songbird, definitely his most celebrated daughter right now, battling against Stellar Win and Beholder. I went 1, 5, and 8. Beholder is the one I'm a little worried about just because of tactics. Stellar Win was
kind of going the wrong way. So this is a filly that looked unbeatable, and now she is getting beat in her last 3 starts. She's got beat by Stellar Win. She gets beat by California Chrome, well clear of the horses behind her.
Right.
But she isn't dominating and winning the way she was.
No, she isn't, and that concerns me. Victor Espinoza jumped all over Beholder as soon as he could. Gary Stevens was on tight lines at the 3/8 pole at the far turn, all the way around the turn. At the quarter pole, still tight lines on Beholder. Stellar Wind is under the whip, but Stellar Wind's a grinder and grinded Beholder down. Once Gary shipped the lines in a stretch, she ran on gamely, but Stellar Wind outgamed her, and I'm a little concerned about that. Songbird is just, I don't know. I mean, she's been spectacular.
How good is she? She's obviously extremely good.
What's the least she's won by? 3 3/4, and that would have been a geared down 3 3/4. But she's just been amazing. She ships all over the country. She's run fast times. She can sit. She showed she can sit off of horses. But she's not. Mike Smith's not going to sit off anyone today. He's going. He doesn't care if he goes in 45 and change. He's going, and she's going to set the pace, and you're going to have to run to beat her. And I think Songbird's the horse. Gets 3 pounds from Beholder and Stellar Wind, which isn't a lot, but still, at least she's getting weight. She's been giving weight to her company often.
She could be giving weight here as well, right? I mean, she does get the weight because she's a 3-year-old, but wow.
What an edge, because she's like pretty special. 158 for me, but still, it's going to be a great horse race. I mean, it's tough. You know, I'm leaving out horses like Forever Unbridled, who's on a roll, who I think will run well. I'm a Chatterbox is a cool filly. Carolina, Land Over Sea with Mario. I mean, there's some quality fillies in here. I just think Songbird drew the best, obviously drawing the rail. Is going to have the best shot to dictate who wins. She goes to the front, and if she loses, it's because she was second best or third best. But she's got every opportunity to win from there. Beholder doesn't. She drew poorly. And Stellar Wind, I don't know if she can go out and win it, but I think she'll need the 1 and 8 to kill each other off, maybe to win it. But I went 158.
She's 11 for 11. You got to stick with her. Maybe one of the greatest. We could be watching one of the greatest fillies of all time here. I think she's in a class with Ruffian.
She is. She's amazing. Like Mike Smith said, she's a bad. Mike Smith's ridden Holy Bull, who was great. I mean, he's ridden a lot of pretty nice horses, and he says Songbird's right up there, maybe even be the best. Still, she's facing older mares for the first time.
As you mentioned, I mean, you look at her form. She's never even had anybody in the picture with her, right? She's never. Has she really been tested?
No.
No, so she's
last couple. She's been getting pushed early, which is good, and it's been setting her up for a tough race against Beholders and Stellar Wind types.
And she's been drawn away.
But
this will be the stiffest test of her career, though. Make no mistake. But I got to stick with Songbird for Hall of Fame trainer Jerry Hollendorf, for Hall of Fame rider Mike Smith. Songbird for me is the one to watch. The most exciting horse, obviously, California Chrome tomorrow. Very interesting as he is, you know, as we say, arguably the best horse in the world. Arrogant, the 3-year-old, but Songbird for me. The fact she's not, she should be on Saturday. She should be the belle of the ball on Saturday, but she very well could be the belle of the ball on Friday. I agree with you. Songbird over Stellar Wind and Beholder, 158 for me. In the distaff, that does it for analysis of the 4 Breeders' Cup races on the Friday form.
Next up on screen, here we go. Here come the bingo balls. Not very many today, but there'll be lots tomorrow. Back in race number 6, I did go to the 6. Big score, 6-5 and 1. I really liked the Flavian Pratt in the first couple. And then race number 7, I went to the Flavian on the 1, Vijack, 1, 3, and 9. Race number 8, I went to the 3, New Money Honey, 3, 14, and 9. And the 9th, number 1, Songbird, on the 1, 5, and 8.
On my picks, there we go. In the first, I went to Aidan O'Brien's Intelligent Cross over the 11, Good Samaritan, and the 12, Rodani. In the 7th, the mile, I went to number 3, Dortmund, over the 8, Tamar Cruz, and the 9, Gunrunner. In the 8th, the Phillies Juvenile Turf, I went to the 13, back to Aidan O'Brien, Roly Poly over the 7, Intricately.
Drew O'Brien.
I got the
change your name to Drew O'Brien.
Got the O'Brien Exactor with his son with Intricately, and Spainberg, the 4-horse in the 3rd spot. And in the distaff, one of the by far most interesting races on the entire weekend card. Number 1, Songbird over number 5, Stellar Wind, and number 8, Beholder. Same number, same order as Mike.
All right, thanks everyone for tuning in. That'll do it for the Friday, November 4th edition, a special Breeders' Cup edition of Handicappers Corner. Don't forget, we will, of course, go through the 9 Breeders' Cup races on Saturday, November the 5th. Please stay tuned for that. On behalf of Drew, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time here at the Derby Bar and Grill.